in the case of an extreme situation, a sedative, because we think nothing about taking sedatives and nerve pills and anti-this, that, and the other. And the Bible actually proscribes in that very, very limited way that. And I've dealt with all this in the video called Drunk, Parts 1 and 2. And I encourage you to go see it. But I don't believe that a church should ever serve an alcoholic beverage and say, this is the blood of Jesus, because it's, you know, it's got alcohol in it. It's been corrupted. Okay? The thousands and billions of bacteria gave their all. Or yeast or whatever. I don't buy it. You have to add yeast to get it to corrupt. Think about that. It's leavened. And so no, I don't buy it for a second that Jesus drank alcohol, that he served it up at the Last Supper. I don't buy it for a second. Coming to a school near you. And then we have this. This is actually going to set a new standard for, that's a bull. It's called, I don't know if you've seen this or not. It's called Frankenbull. Here's another, this is my high-tech graphics here. Here's another picture of it. Can you imagine? How can I say this without... Can you imagine the amount of bull waste? How's that? That this thing produces? It's like setting a new standard for bull waste. Only the only entity in the universe that can put out more bull waste would be Congress. The Frankenbull. Apparently it's a video. Michelle sent this to me. In the video, you'll see they claim this is all natural. And then go on to explain how it is done through selective breeding. Sorry, don't see that as natural either, especially since they take the bull's seed, I'll use that word, find the exact DNA that they're looking for to breed this animal. This is genetic modification. Most people watch this and automatically see that it is wrong. The motive, is it to feed more people? Sadly, no. The motive is to make money. And I'm all for making money. Don't get me wrong, and I'm reading the article here. As long as it's moral and ethical, do you think that this is okay to do? This is called a Belgian Blue, a huge genetically modified bull. Due to genetic selection experiments, Belgian Blue is a humongous species of bulls packed with muscles and meat. Very, very interesting. A new standard for bull waste. Car dealership in Lost Wages becomes unmarked military base. Again, Michelle sent this to me. The car dealership in Lost Wages, Nevada, has been transformed into a military base that seems to be fully stocked with combat vehicles. Suspicious. Military bases and installments are popping up all over the country and are being discovered at an alarming rate. The increase in local military bases could be a sign of potential military action or even a plan for martial law. The most recent base was discovered in Nevada. Now, I'm going to kind of keep on reading this in a little bit, but I want to send you a word of caution the moment that I turn my AC unit over my way here. Hang on. Ah, that feels a lot better. If you remember, there was a video going around in the 90s, and it featured video of alleged FEMA camps. I'm not saying they weren't. Video of a place, I think it's down south somewhere, Alabama, Mississippi, somewhere, where you had all these white United Nations vehicles stored. And then you have the video being put out there, pictures and everything. Alex Jones talked about it with Jesse, almost said Jesse Duplantis, Jesse Ventura, on conspiracy theory about all these FEMA coffins. They could very well be. I don't know. But it's been going around since the 90s. And also in this 90s video, I can't remember what the name of it was. I used to have a copy of it. It was one of those videos that they made for sale, and they told everybody not to copy it. Well, a guy gave me a copy of it, and I copied it and gave it to other people. This is why when we make videos here, we don't copyright them. Because I already know that's what everybody's going to do. And that's what we want you to do with them. We want you to copy them, get them out to people. And so anyway, along in this video in the 90s was supposedly, and I never saw proof that it was, supposedly on the backs of these state highway signs were these little stickers on the back that were here is the theory, and they were different shapes and so on. Didn't have any words on them. They were just different shapes. And supposedly the theory was that these were code markers to tell the Russian troops or whoever was invading our country at the time where the FEMA camps were. In other words, they were like map markers. And if it was this shape, okay, you got to turn right here. And if it's this shape, it's 5 miles down the road or whatever. That was the theory. And I was going, oh, wow. So I spent, I don't know how many years looking for these things on the backs of Missouri road signs. I never found any of them. And you don't see them. I don't know what they were, but you don't see them anywhere anymore. And here's my point in this. Just because somebody comes out with new information and they see military vehicles in a place where you don't normally see military vehicles, that does not necessarily mean that some sort of military action is pending in an immediate fashion. Doesn't mean that the rapture is going to happen. It doesn't mean that martial law has already been declared. We just don't know about it. One doesn't necessarily mean the other. And my goodness, we have people taking pictures and shooting video of military cargo being transported in the United States and military equipment going up and down the highway. Well, you know, we have Army bases all over the country. We have National Guard bases all over the country, and they have to get from point A to point B. Just because you happen to see it and take a picture of it, that doesn't mean that they're already moving all of their vehicles in line in preparation for a takeover. Doesn't mean that necessarily. And I'm not trying to dissuade anybody from keeping an open eye. But I also don't think that every time you see something in camouflage, that means martial law has been declared. But anyway, according to a Russian news source, which I don't trust Russian news sources. But anyway, here's the Russian news source. And I don't see anywhere in this article where they quoted the source, where they actually have a link to the source. As if I could sprechen the Russian anyway. A stockpile of military vehicles were recently discovered occupying a secluded commercial property on the outskirts of Lost Wages at the address of 5750 Sky Point Drive. If anybody's listening to me and you are near Lost Wages, Nevada, go to 5750 Sky Point Drive, take a picture, send it to Pastor Mike Online at gmail.com. It doesn't seem as if the Humvees and other military-grade vehicles are for sale, even though they are stationed at a former car dealership that has been stripped of its business logo and signs. It would appear as if the equipment is deliberately being hidden from public on this secluded property surrounded by barbed wire fences. Well, apparently, it's not being hidden very well if this guy's taking pictures of it. And if this guy found it, they did the lousiest job in the world hiding it. Just saying. The front of the building, which can be seen while driving north on US 95 while departing from Lost Wages, or from the upscale Painted Desert Mall on the other side of the freeway, is littered with pedestrian vehicles. Pedestrian vehicles. If you're a pedestrian, you don't have a vehicle. Anyway, after closer investigation, it was clear from the former United Dodge dealership is some sort of military station, judging from the soldiers on the property, all dressed and outfitted in Army, and they're very fatigued. However, there is no clear indication or signage posted certifying that it is a United States military base. This news comes just days after we reported on a mock American town, which even contains dummy citizens. Well, that's not a mock town. That's like 70% of the towns in America are full of dummy citizens. Just saying. Dummy citizens for domestic training purposes. Military organizations are using towns like this to train for combat situations in modern American towns. It has been admitted that these are training operations for, quote, crowd control in the event of civil unrest. We also noted in our report this week, another article by WSWS.com points out how urban warfare drills are being conducted now in major cities such as Chicago and others. Reading, in the late evening hours of July 22nd, several Black Hawk... My daughter, Lindsay, when she was little, she called them coptolators. Dad, there's a coptolator. Helicopters flew low over central areas of the Chicago without any light, startling a number of residents who were not aware of the scheduled military helicopter coptolator training exercise. Meanwhile, the police has continued to grow in size. Meanwhile, the police state has continued to grow in size and intensity as the military begins to train for battle within its own borders. Believe it or not. So if you are anywhere near the Lost Wages area of the Painted Desert Mall and U.S. Highway 95, take a picture, send it to Pastor Mike online. We'll just see about that. And this, and you know, I think it is relevant. I think it's interesting. U.S. government in turmoil over big new Al-Qaeda plot while Obama funds them. Over this weekend, the United States Department of Homeland Security issued a terror alert. I don't think I heard the nature of it. I don't know if anybody knows. They were just saying terror alert, everybody, terror alert. And they were hearing a lot of chatter from Al-Qaeda and so on and so on and so on. And maybe I'm wrong, but it's possible that the Department of Homeland Security heard about the Bethel homecoming. It's possible. I'm not saying that's what it was. I'm just saying it's possible. And to my knowledge, no weapons were brandished at the Bethel homecoming this weekend. No car bombs went off. We did not have a course downstairs on fertilizer bombs. Nothing like that. We didn't do that. And I know that in me saying this, I've already triggered an NSA flag, and they're going to review this. I'm just letting the NSA know, believe it or not, we're not terrorists. We're not. We're good people who love the Lord. We love the Bible. We are commanded in the Scriptures to dwell in peace with all men as much as possible, and that's what we want to do. Just letting you know who we are.